Let's talk to him. Let's talk to him. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. It's all good in the neurodivergent hood, baby. Let's get it. Let's get it. We're going to talk about a key ADHD mistake. It's going to be a shorter stream. Not going to be too long because my old lady's put me on a bedtime, which is good for me. So I can't be up for too late tonight, but I do want to talk about a key ADHD mistake. So go ahead. Let's get into it. Let's get vibing. Let's get going. Let's get cracking. Let me see. Play me some music just to get started. Play me a little bit of Young Boy or nah. We don't have time for Young Boy tonight. So we'll just get right into it. We will just get right into it. Because I want to stay organized. I want to stay organized. So let's go ahead and use the comment section to go on. Grab you a seat. This little 20-minute live stream. Let me see what they see. Drink Candy, what's going on? Talk to me. Talk to me. Ooh. My camera is outstanding. I just want to take some time out and just a big shout out to the camera. This camera makes me look oh so handsome, and I really like that. I like that. Alright, let's get our Facebookers on. I don't want them to miss this party, so let's bring on our boys and girls from Facebook as well. If you're watching right now, you're watching on YouTube or on TikTok. We are streaming on both. But we're going to bring on our boys and girls from Facebook. Alright, let's bring on the boys and girls from Facebook as well. Alright. Welcome, 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 my Facebook family. Thank you for being here. This is another episode of the Late Night Show, Dr. Kojo. This is an abbreviated episode. This is a shorter episode. We've already been streaming live on YouTube and on TikTok, and I'm making sure that I can bring my Facebook family in. Today we're talking about a key ADHD mistake. We're talking about one thing, and we're going to keep things simple and straightforward. If you're new here, my name is Dr. Kojo Safra. I'm your Hollywood mental health expert. It's my job to break down mental health in the way that you understand. And we're going to get you from point A to point B. We want to make your life better. So if you're watching my live stream and your life doesn't get better, just cut this off right now. Just cut it off and just go find somebody who actually helps you out and somebody who helps to bring you value while entertaining you. But I hope that I can be that person for you. I really do. And we have somewhat of a nice following. We are only the world's biggest neurodivergent personal brand. And we have a community of people that I absolutely love and adore. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you for rocking with me for the past 5 years. And the next 5 will be even better. So tonight we're talking about a key ADHD mistake. As we get settled, then go ahead and use the comment section to let me know where you're checking in from. We're streaming live on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Alright? I wanted to make sure that my Facebookers could join the party. I don't want to leave my Facebook boys and girls out. And I also want to take some time out to say that we have some brand new merch. We have brand new merch. Shout out to my Facebook community for the idea. We were live streaming like we always do. And somebody on my Facebook community was like, you should put on the shirt. So I was like, it's all good in the neurodivergent hood. And somebody was like, you should put down the shirt. And I was like, I think I should. So I took my phone and I messaged John. I said, John, let's put it's all good in the neurodivergent hood on a shirt. And let's put it on the merch store. So we have it now on the shirt. And it's on the merch store. Link is in the bio. You saw this video. You saw this shirt in my video that I posted earlier this morning where I was talking about what autism can look like at home. And you will see this merch in a lot more of my videos moving forward. Alright, so let me make sure that I can see what my Facebookers are saying. I'm able to see what my TikTokers are saying because I have that right in front of me. And I am able to see what my YouTubers excuse me, are saying as well. All right. Somebody's asking about an allergic reaction. Guys, I ain't that kind of doctor. I don't know how to help you out with that. Ashley, it's not a bad ADHD medication. They're not letting me talk about specific meds online anymore. And I get dinged for that. But, we got the stimulants and we got the non-stimulants. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Is that how that phrase goes? More than one way to skin a cat? I think so. Either way, guys, we're talking about a key ADHD mistake. And that mistake today is the inability or struggling to prioritize. So if you have ADHD like me, unless you learn to do the right thing at the right time with the right people, you will suffer and struggle. You'll feel like you're working twice as hard as other people to get less done. So you'll put in 8 hours for something that you'd assume would take somebody else an hour and a half, and you still won't get as much done as them. You're gonna have a hard time knowing what the right thing to do is, or in what order you should do things. So when you have a lot of things to do, but you don't know where to start, that causes anxiety. And the way that you defeat anxiety is through action. But if you're not taking action, you're becoming more and more anxious, and our to-do list is piling up. So if you have ADHD, you really shouldn't make a to-do list. You should make a list of things that you have to do and then prioritize them and put them into categories. But that is the hard part. That's the part that we struggle with. Prioritization. So how are we going to get better at that? How are we going to get better at that? Noreen says, just received my ADHD diagnosis. The missing piece of the puzzle, a PTSD formulation was lacking. Okay. And you've got to get the right diagnosis before you can get the right treatment. So this is why, we can come on these live streams and we can talk and we can have fun, but until you get the right diagnosis, we're not really going anywhere. We got to get the right diagnosis first and foremost. All right? And Jay said, my bad. Hey, it's all good. Look, people ask me those random questions, and my ADHD brain wants to answer those random questions. So hopefully the swelling stops. Obviously, go see your healthcare provider, if it's becoming an issue, if it's becoming emergent. All right. Somebody on YouTube asks, why are my eyes... Look, I don't know. I get a lot of questions that I don't know, and I think it's liberating to say I don't know, because I don't know the answer to that. I just don't know. I don't know. But if we're talking about prioritization, how are we going to get the most important things done? So, what holds a lot of people with ADHD back is something called shame. Shame is not liking who you are, and guilt is not liking what you've done. So when you build up a lot of guilt and shame, you get paralyzed, at least in action. We cannot put a system together. When you have a system and you know how to prioritize things, you're able to move through the day and get the most important things done first, and then everything that's secondary, do that later. If you're doing this on a consistent basis, you're going to reach your goals faster. You're going to get things done quicker. You're going to be less overwhelmed. And when you're less overwhelmed and when you're less stressed, you're in a better position to make better decisions. So if you want to be in the best possible position, where are my words today? Where are my words? If you want to be in the best possible position to make the best decisions for you, you have to learn how to prioritize. So anytime somebody is struggling to prioritize a couple of things, that's when I start to think that they could potentially have ADHD. And somebody else on YouTube is asking me, could it be bipolar? I don't know. Guys, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're checking in from. I have not done a full evaluation on you. So it could be a lot of different things. We don't know. We have no idea until you do a full evaluation. We don't know. Nikki, what's going on? Nikki on TikTok, how are you? It's good to see you again. Linda says, who is better to talk to for a diagnosis, a therapist or a psychologist or psychiatrist? Once again, a really good question. I say that the most linear path. I mean, if you ask me, I'm going to say go to somebody from the field of psychiatry. If you're thinking that medications would help your condition, talk to somebody in the world of psychiatry, a psychiatrist, psychiatric nurse practitioner, so on and so forth. If you feel like just talking to somebody would help you out, a therapist or a psychologist could be better. But if you think that meds will be needed, sometimes you don't know this, but if you think that meds will be needed, you got to talk to somebody from the world of psychiatry. So those are my people. My people and them. Once again, fantastic question. Let me see. Brennan says, and guys, let's go ahead and go into the Q&A portion of the live stream. So go ahead and ask your questions. I want to get into the Q&A section fairly early tonight because I want to be consistent with my bedtime. Jake asked what time it is for me. It's 9:53 p.m. on the West Coast. Jake asked that question. So if you're on the East Coast right now, it's almost 1 a.m. So that's pretty late. And Derek says, I have a fear of talking to psychiatrists. And Derek, you're not the only person who has that fear. A lot of people will message me that. That's a very common concern. And I think the stigma is that psychiatrists are just going to not listen to you and want you to get out of the office and give you a couple of meds. And some psychiatrists could do that. The overwhelming majority of the psychiatrists that I personally know, like my colleagues and like my friends, are not like that. But there are some psychiatrists who do that. They're not my friends though. They're not my people. So yeah, let me answer these questions. Let's go ahead and do the Q&A. So go ahead and spit your questions out of me. Brandon says, I got diagnosed with bipolar 2 because of rapid cycling from Lexapro. Should I get a second opinion? Brandon, like I said, great question. Antidepressants can cause mania, and that is one of the more common ways that we find out that somebody has bipolar disorder. If you're not satisfied with the diagnosis, or if you question it, there's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion. If somebody tells me that they need a second opinion, I don't get offended. I just say, sure, because we should put our egos aside and realize that we can get things wrong. So yeah, I mean, if you ask me, but maybe your psych may have an ego. My mom got put on the same ADHD medication as me when her practitioner didn't even know me. Genetics are wild. Nikki, genetics are wild, and we do genetic testing at times, and I think that can be helpful. I don't like to lean on it because I gotta talk to the person. I gotta see what's going on. You feel me? I gotta talk to people. That's why. I think that's why I do this for a living. I like talking to people. So that's probably why I do stand-up comedy, and it's probably why I just talk my ass off. I like talking to people, so I gotta talk to the person, and I gotta figure out what's going on. So a lot of times, if you ask the right questions and you get the right diagnosis, you tend to prescribe the right medications. So whoever saw you and your mom probably knew what they were doing. So Nikki, shout out to them. Shout out to them. Gwendolyn says, it is indeed almost 1 a.m. here in Montreal. Gwendolyn, thank you for your attention. I see that you're an actress in Montreal. Montreal. I've never been to that part of Canada, but I was just in Vancouver about 2 months ago. Had a comedy show out there, and it was great. So I love my Canadians, and I don't have a Canadian license, so I cannot have Canadian patients. So that sucks, but I can definitely come to Canada and do stand-up comedy. So shout out to my Canadians out there. Robet says, nice shirt. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Nikki says, I'd love to get Psych MD someday. It'd be helpful. I think it'd be helpful. Scott says, hello from Lisburn County, Antrim, Northern Ireland. Scott, I'm happy to see that you're checking in from Northern Ireland. Hey, I would love to come to Ireland one day, and I got a lot of people in Ireland, both Northern Ireland and also in the country of Ireland. So shout out to my Irish folk. Wow, purely Nikki, that's ironic. That's what's up. That's what's up. Intuitive, introvert, liberty. Sorry to hear that. Nonverbal. And guys, look, people don't understand how devastating it can be to hit your head. You could hit your head and hear voices. You could hit your head and have symptoms of ADHD. You can hit your head and have symptoms of bipolar disorder. You can hit your head and have symptoms of schizophrenia. You could hit your head and you could feel like you're a bit more paranoid. All of these things can come from hitting your head. So a traumatic brain injury is nothing to play with. And as much of a football fan as I am, I think that every football player from middle school and even younger to the NFL should wear the Guardian cap, that thing on the helmet, because head injuries are no joke. So yeah, you could hit your head and you could absolutely hear voices or have mood swings, and life can become very difficult. It could seem like you had a personality change. So yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Ms. Raya says, checking in from Vancouver. Sorry, I didn't know about your show. It's all good. See, the thing is, I just DM'd a comedy club in Vancouver, and I was like, I want to come to Canada this weekend. Can I drop in? And they let me drop in. So I went to Canada, and the show was great. We posted the clips online and got a lot of views, and I'm looking to go back in December and do another show for autism awareness. So shout out to my Vancouver people. I knew I would love Vancouver because people call it the Los Angeles of Canada. I don't know if that's true, but I had a great time in Vancouver, and I would love to come back. So y'all are super nice. Thank you very much. Celine says, it's true, I forget words sometimes. Oh yeah. I love my Vancouver folks. I love my Vancouver folks. And Derek's question on YouTube says, what scares me is how open you have to be, or how much of the truth you have to tell about yourself. There's also the thought of being Truman Showed. Derek, look, Derek, it's very scary to talk to a mental health professional. I get it. It is a very courageous thing to do so. I was like 27 when I first talked to a therapist. And then I was already Dr. Kojo. Well, I mean, like, you do a little bit of therapy in school, but the first time I went to therapy for myself to really like get something from it, I was 27. So it's very scary to talk to a therapist and to talk to a psychiatrist, even with what I do for a living. So don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. It's extremely scary. You have to open up to somebody and tell them the actual truth. We're conditioned to lie every day, and all of a sudden you gotta tell somebody the truth. That's hella scary. So give yourself some grace right there. I promise you, it's not as easy as some people think it is. It's a very difficult thing. Very difficult thing. Ooh, dropping my head. Ooh, Nikki. Yeah, if you've ever talked to anybody who's worked in an emergency room, or if you've worked in the ER, or you've worked anywhere within triage, you'll know that it's a bad idea to ride a bike or to ride a motorcycle or anything without a helmet. You have to protect your head at all times. We gotta protect our noggin. My first therapist was 11, and I still get nervous with any new one. Yeah, this stuff is not easy, y'all. This stuff is not easy at all. It is not easy. It ain't easy. And also, this week I will be going live at 8 o'clock California time, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. So starting tomorrow, that will be the times for the live stream. I'm testing out new times for everything. So it may take some getting used to, but I'm testing out new times for everything. It's going to take some getting used to. So yes, I wear a helmet religiously. Nikki, thank you. And if you're watching this live stream right now and you don't wear a helmet, don't even admit it. Don't tell us. Don't tell me. Just make sure you wear a helmet. All right. Don't even tell us that. and seatbelt. Right? We gotta strap up. We have to have, good general basic safety skills. And as far as live streams, I just want to say something real quick, and then I will answer Derek's question. Derek on YouTube, I see your question, I'll answer it. But as far as live streams go, I'm a night owl, I'm a night bird, but I want to hit more of my community because we have an international audience. So I have flirted with the thought of a morning live stream, or maybe popping in and doing one in the middle of the day. So I'm still flirting with different times for the live stream. But this week, at a minimum, because minimums are important, at a minimum, we will go live at 8 p.m. California time, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. But I am flirting with different times. Because when I go live in the morning, I'm able to get my UK boys and girls like in the middle of the day. So that's probably the best time for people who are in England to watch this live stream. So just know that I'm not just thinking with my American brain, I'm thinking with my international brain. All right. Last question. What a name. Psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. That's my title. And Gwendolyn asks, what's your approach? I only know the terms in French. So you're probably asking this question from France, Gwendolyn. I mean Montreal, Canada. Same thing. It's not, but my approach is not CBT or DBT. My approach is a Kojo approach, and that's patients first. So it just depends. Some patients come in and I refill medications, and we don't even talk about, the meds. We just talk about how life is going. It just depends on whatever's in front of you. So my approach is the Kojo approach. Derek's question: would you recommend group therapy session or a private therapy session for someone who thinks like me? Derek, to be honest, I would recommend, whatever works for you, but I've seen people who are nervous to talk to psychiatrists do better with one-on-one sessions if there are things that they want to talk about that they feel like people will judge them for. Right? So if you have certain concerns that you feel like are a bit more private, let me give you a couple of examples. If you're having an embarrassing issue, a great example, if you're struggling with sexual side effects from medications, people generally don't like talking about that in an open setting, right? Because it's embarrassing to say, or people think that it is. I don't think it is, but a lot of people think that's embarrassing to admit that, oh yeah, I started taking Zoloft and now I'm having a hard time, so people may not want to share that in a group setting. But if you are dealing with something that you feel like a lot of people struggle with, and you could benefit from hearing from other people, let's say you're working on your sobriety, and you've been trying to give up smoking, and it's been a week and you haven't gotten high, and you're having weird dreams, and you're sweating bullets at night, so on and so forth, and you feel like you can benefit from talking to other people who are going through the same thing, that maybe group therapy would work for you. But once again, Derek, that's an outstanding question. Great questions. Great questions. My dad would love you. Nikki, I try. And Natasha, to answer your question, great question from Natasha right here. How can I get my son to see the benefits in taking his meds and going to his therapist? Let me click Natasha's photo. All right, so Natasha, so this is not just specific to Black people or African Americans or us. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's for everybody, but especially for people like us. I think if you can talk to your son about a time that maybe you had to take meds, or a time that you were really going through something, and make it personal to you, then I think that could resonate with him more. Because in our community, we don't talk about this stuff. We just kind of crash out. So I feel like, mother to son, talking to your son can be life-changing. And whenever my parents start to open up about their past and they really start to talk about some of the difficult things they've struggled with, I always pause and just do my best to like listen to them. Not that I don't listen to them all the time, but you know, whenever my parents are going to like old school lore about who they used to be before they had kids, I'm always all ears. I really want to hear that. I really want to hear that. Cree says, not me finding this live at 1 a.m. with multiple missing assignments. Cree, do not fall back on your homework or your assignments by watching this live stream. We should all be preparing for bed here. And I will be, but don't fall behind. Don't fall behind. Romania says, your videos are uncomfortable, they're too vague. Respect. And guys, if you watch my videos and you feel like the symptoms are too vague, just know that the way to get officially diagnosed is by going to a real provider. Not that I'm not a real provider. I am a real provider. I still see patients, even though I do the comedy and all this other stuff. But I'm not your provider unless I am your provider. And we are seeing new patients in California, Alaska, Washington, and Arizona. So if you'd like to be seen and you meet the criteria, click the link in the bio. Or you can click the link in the bio to join our neurodivergent community. And we do twice monthly Zoom calls, and it's a big community for neurodivergence. And that's a paid group, but we have a free Discord as well. And I'll make sure that we add a Discord to the link in our bio. Awesome, John. And can we add the free Discord to our standout store? Let's put it there underneath the neurodivergent community, so that way people can access the free Discord. Thank you. I'll make sure that I get that going. Do you think 3 years old is too young for an ADHD diagnosis? Yes, I think that 3 years old is way too young for an ADHD diagnosis. Way too young. I like to wait until 7 or 8 preferably, sometimes 6. But 3 years old is way too young. Great question, by the way, but 3 years old is way too young. And it's confusing for most people because we can diagnose autism at 2 and 3. But we don't diagnose ADHD at 3. There are a lot of different things that could account for ADHD-like behaviors at the age of 3. So no, 3 years old is way too young. Great question, though. Great question. Rachel says, my 28-year-old son that I've been very close to has been in psychosis since March. Rachel, I'll say this about psychosis. I have a lot of thoughts on psychosis. I think providers are not good at catching psychosis nowadays. And even when you do seek help, people may write it off as just, a little bit of trauma, But psychosis is scary. It's a break from reality. And it can be dangerous. So I'm definitely, I'm thinking about your son, and I hope he can find the right help. There's nothing embarrassing about experiencing psychosis. A lot of people go through it. And you can be psychotic without hearing or seeing things. People don't know that. You could have fixed false beliefs, which are delusions. You could be paranoid. So, we need to talk about psychosis a lot more. But I'm thinking about your son, and I hope he can find his way to some help. Rachel, thank you for sharing. Sean, my first diagnosis is bipolar, and my new psychologist says that it might be ADHD. Is it possible to do it? To have both? You can most definitely have both. I have a lot of patients who have ADHD and bipolar disorder. It's fairly common. Normally in that situation, you would treat the bipolar first, or at least make sure that there's no manic episode, because that can be extremely dangerous. So you would want to, at least the way I do things, I account for the bipolar disorder first, and then when you account for that, then it tends to put the ADHD symptoms, in clear focus, and then we can treat that. So yes, you can have bipolar and ADHD at the same time. It's very common, and sometimes you can have bipolar and have ADHD as a diagnosis that you should have, or you could be diagnosed ADHD when you're really bipolar. And the way you know the difference is really going to a professional, but the professional diagnoses it by looking out for a manic episode. If there's no mania or hypomania, then you don't have bipolar. This stuff is not, I mean, to me it's not that complicated, but I hope I can break it down to y'all in a way that makes sense. You feel me? You dig? You dig? And we need to talk about it more so people stop using psychosis interchangeably with mania. Nikki, facts. Psychosis and mania are not the same thing. Now, when you're manic, you can experience psychosis. But when you're psychotic, you're not always manic. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty, y'all. This is like the advanced class. So my advanced boys and girls, stand up if you know this stuff. But yes, thank you for saying that. And Shannon says, thank you for explaining bipolar 2 so well. I was diagnosed not too long ago. Yeah, I tell folks bipolar 2 really looks like depression and anxiety with brief moments of euphoria. So that's why it's so difficult to diagnose it. It's difficult to catch it, even for me. And I'm pretty good. No, I do. Jedi on YouTube. My YouTube boys and girls, I ain't forget about y'all. Jedi says, I possibly lost my person who I thought I was starting to love. My ADHD quirks, I think, scared her off. I was so excited to be around her. My inner ADHD came alive and it annoyed her. So you lost your person because of ADHD. Guys, that hit me on a personal note because, as y'all know, I have ADHD as well, and it affects your relationships. I heard that 96% people who their partners have ADHD, they list their partner's ADHD as a problem. And I have it, so I'm mindful of that. And it's nothing to be ashamed about, but the things that cause your relationship to be difficult because of the ADHD, the majority of that stuff is all treatable. So, as you get rid of guilt and shame and start to like who you are, you can start to work on these things. But I felt that on a personal note. I felt that. Is there medication for bipolar? Yes, there is. Bipolar disorder is not difficult to treat. The hardest part is just catching it. The hardest part is just catching it. Let me answer like 2 more questions and then I'm going to get out of here because I lied to my girl. I told her I was going to be online for like 15 minutes, which she knows is 30. But going live at the normal scheduled time will give me more time to go live because going live is one of the things that I enjoy the most about content creation. So I want to go live, and I'll even get consistent with my my Twitch live streams once again. And Jazz says that loss hurt as much as my divorce. I'm sorry to hear that. If you have ADHD, you are more likely to get divorced too. ADHD, it ain't no quirky little fun thing. It can be a wicked condition that can ruin your life. Empathy is helpful. And Philemon says, it took me almost 1.5 years to get an appointment for the yeah, it takes people a long time to get appointments. And hopefully, with my practice, we can help the people that we're able to help with that. That's why we need that's funny. That's why we need ADHD partners. Yeah, if your partner has ADHD and you have it, there's a good chance that they, that they could be empathetic. So, All right, guys. So I do have to get off here. I didn't get to answer a lot of questions from my Facebook community. I wasn't seeing. Okay. I got some comments from my Facebook community. I don't know why my Facebookers, the comments weren't coming through. I gotta punch my computer to make it work better. But anyway, let me see what Brent says. I'm going to be assessed soon, and I'm worried they'll misassess me or misdiagnose me. I've been to professional therapy multiple times, and all I got was depression and anxiety. So guys, yes, misdiagnosis is a problem in our field, and a lot of people suck. Nah, not that they suck. It just sometimes we lack education in certain areas, and I know I'm not perfect, so I have misdiagnosed people before, I'm sure. But we just do our best to get better every single day, and we should be, doing continuing education so we can get better every single day. But let your doctor know, hey, I think I had this thing, and hopefully you find somebody who will check you out for that thing. Ooh, look at this comment right here from Abby on TikTok. I started Vyvanse a few weeks ago after being diagnosed 2 years ago. I can't believe the difference. It's like night and day. It's truly a life-changing thing. Guys, y'all know my story and how far I've come. That includes getting help. Alright, Healing Disco. Tara, it's good to see you. Love from Nashville. I hope you're doing good in my home state. Laura says, my son was just diagnosed with bipolar. What are the most important things that I can do for him now? Laura, you asked the right person. So if your son was just diagnosed with bipolar disorder, the first thing to do is accept him. Give him a safe space to tell you how he's feeling. Make sure that he's compliant with whatever medications he's been given, and just help him get good sleep. Sleep is so important for bipolar. Sleep, and managing stress and managing triggers. And as long as he follows up with his appointments and he's forthcoming with his providers, I think he'll do great. I think he's gonna do fine. Nikki said the meds helped her out. Yeah, look, these are big game changers, guys. Guys and girls, these are big game changers. All right, y'all. So I do have to hop off tomorrow. Live stream at 8 p.m. California time. That's 10 o'clock for my boys and girls in Nashville. 11 o'clock for my people in Atlanta. If you're in London, that's 4 a.m. I know that's hella early for y'all, but I'm gonna experiment with some different times so I can hit all my boys and girls from all over the globe. So I do have to, get to bed. And my old lady put me on at bedtime.